One technique that I always taught myself to do as an aspiring videographer is to get out there and try to create something. And oftentimes I find myself, even in slow seasons of freelancing, of me going out there and just trying to recreate movie frames from movies that I love. And if you're a videographer, I honestly inspire you as well to practice your cinematography in a way that somewhat looks identical to the movies that you watch. It's a lot that goes into creating these films and these movies, and oftentimes we see it and we think it's just so simple, and then we get out there and try it, and it just turns out to be more difficult than what we imagined it to be. Why? Because some cases it might be we lack knowledge, or we lack certain skills, or we lack certain materials, but you're never really going to know what you're good at until you get out there and try it. And the best way to improve your cinematography, your videography skills, is by going out there and trying to recreate some of your favorite films. And that's what we're going to do in this video. So the films that I chose to recreate for this video is actually by a movie that just came out this year called The Killer by David Fincher. If you don't know who that is, he's a director that everyone basically knows. He has like almost an occult like following in the film industry. Now, if you don't know much about the movie, I'm not going to spoil it for you. You just got to go watch it and check it out for yourself. So the first scene that I chose from the movie The Killer is actually the scene where the character is in the bathroom shaving his face. Now, the reason why I even chose this scene is because I like the way the composition is aligned, and I like the lighting, I like the feel, I like the mood of this entire scene. It gives me more of that Joker feeling, just that psychopath, that crazy, evil type of feeling. And I like the way that this scene is lit. So for this scene, it wasn't too difficult. It was pretty straightforward. And honestly, if you watch my last short film, you can kind of hint that I already kind of mimic this frame in a way. If you haven't watched my short film, I'm going to link it above for you to check it out. But I already did something that was similar to this, so I already knew how I was going to set this up. So yeah, for this scene, I couldn't really get too much to the exact liking, but I think for what I was able to do and the resources that I was able to work with and have, I think it came out pretty similar. Now, you can make it and perfect it to be exactly the same, but if you use your resources and you can make it close enough, I think this came out pretty well done in my opinion.
So this right here is pretty much my lighting setup. I have the small little cheap Amazon light sitting right up here. I'm gonna turn the house lights off. I have the FX6 sitting right here. I couldn't do it on the other frame because of the reflection, so it's gonna have to swap it over. But this is it. This is pretty much a simple, easy lighting setup.
Now, moving on to the second scene. This is a scene that I actually shot here in this horrible, unlit hotel room. So, for this scene from the movie, I pretty much just used everything that was in this hotel room to recreate the movie frame that you see here on the screen. Now, essentially, if you know, the biggest difference that I really had was the window placement. So, if you look at the frame in the movie, you can see the window placement is on the right hand side of the character. But in my hotel room, the window placement is on my left hand side. So, nothing I can do about that. In the frame of the movie, the chair is kind of close to a little tabletop next to the bed in a way. So what I had to do, I had to essentially scoot the chair over closer to the bed just a little bit and move over the countertop to try to mimic the exact look. If you look to the right of the frame, you can see there's like a small water bottle or like a soda bottle that's blurred off in the frame. I tried to do something like that, but I just didn't have enough space, nor did I have enough resources to give me more separation from the water bottle to the camera, because I didn't bring my tripod, so I wasn't able to set my camera on sticks, and nor do I even have a tall enough shelf or anything in here that's going to be able to have me set a water bottle on top of something to place it in front of the camera lens. So that's something that I had to scratch out. Okay, so right here, I'm trying to film this in my hotel room. It's about 5 in the morning right now. I have my white balance set to around 3500 Kelvin. The frame of this movie by David Fincher, Killer, it was daytime because you can see light coming through the window, but I'm shooting at nighttime because I don't have any lights and I want to utilize having more contrast in the shadows of my face. So I'm using a 2470 to get really wide, and I just switched to Kelvins to around 3518. I had at 27. So we're gonna see how this looks. I think the framing looks good. Obviously it's not gonna be identical, it's not gonna be perfect, but the point of this video is for you to practice your cinematography and try to recreate movie frames and just better hone in on your skills, and most importantly, your problem solving ability to be able to utilize what you have and work with what you have and fix problems that may occur whenever you're on set. Yeah, I think this frame, I think it looks pretty good. I think it's not 100% perfect by any means, Now with this shot, it wasn't too difficult. It was kind of difficult in a way because I didn't have my own light. What I really wanted to do was replace the back lamp that I have in the hotel room and maybe use like an aperture light bulb so I can get the exact same color temperature and have a more accurate color balance. After looking back at the footage, I decided to readjust the kelvins. I had it at 35 and now I have it at 2700. So the only issue that I'm having right now is I have a Rec 709 LUT applied with the FX6 and it's giving me more of a bluer color, but in post-production I'm gonna have to adjust it and refix it. And honestly, like again, these frames, they look very simple and they look very basic, but it's just the production that goes behind these frames, like what it took me just to get that one shot, a lot of moving around and trying to make things work. It's a long process. But what do you think? I think the frame came out pretty good. Again, it's not exactly identical. There's some adjustments that could be made and fixed, but for the most part, with what I had, the resources that I made work, I think it looks pretty good. And honestly, that goes to show you that you don't need to have everything to make a frame look good. Use what you have. And if you know what you're doing, you can make it look good. One thing to notate that a lot of people fail to realize is doing stuff like this takes a lot of time. Like, there's just so much that goes into creating on a film set, and to match the exact frame, I know it just looks like I'm just sitting in a chair, I just turn the lamp on and boom, I hit record. It's more, it's just more stuff that I gotta clear out, I gotta clean the desk, make everything look alike, move things around. I have to work with what I have. I don't have any artificial light that I brought with me. I'm using the hotel room lights. And to start off, every single piece of equipment that I used to film this entire video was only two things. I didn't have diffusion, I didn't have negative fill, literally just my camera and my lens and a small cheap Amazon light. And these are the frames that I was able to capture with just a small amount of gear. Using what I have, I think it came out pretty good. And that just goes to show you anybody can go out there and recreate these frames. You don't even need a cinema camera. You can use a cheap $500, $800 camera and pretty much get the same exact looking image if you just know what you're doing, if you know how to light. I know for a fact all these frames that I captured, you can get the same image on an 8-bit camera. There's nothing that should stop you. So if you have an 8-bit camera like a Sony a6000 or something older, you should be inspired to go out there and recreate something. Use what you have and you can make it work. Without further ado, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I didn't want to make it too long because I'm out here freelancing. I'm on a job right now. But if you did enjoy today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you in the next video. Abiantu, Banjoni.